So over the last 12 years, a lot of my time has been consumed by listening to and playing samba. Playing in both roda de sambas and bateria contexts, at corporate gigs, informal gatherings under bridges, in bars that were a little bit too small, and at carnivals and festivals. There are obviously more than three things going on in any samba, unless you just have three instruments, but even still, there's a lot more. But today I'm going to try and break down some of the key components that I think every samba has in one way or another, whether it's directly there or it's being referenced. If you're new here, hi, my name is Jordan Ferguson. I'm a percussionist based in Edinburgh. And let's just get into talking about these three components of samba. Marcação. Marcação literally translates into English as marking. It's the marking beat, it's the pulse. This is often referenced in a lot of different percussion instruments from chimbal, congas, pandeiro, rebolo, tantan, surdos. A bit of everything will reference the marcação in one way or another. It is one of the unique characteristics of samba, and it's something that throws a lot of people off, especially to begin with, and especially if they're more experienced in other styles that are a little bit more Western. Because instead of the stressed beat being on 1 and 3 of the pulse, the stressed beat is on 2 and 4, if we're thinking about this in 4/4 rather than 2/4. Here's a marcação just on a surdo. Two, Teleco-teco. Teleco-teco is a rhythmic phrase, sort of a rhythmic device that's used in lots of different avenues within the style. And it's one of the things that's more closely like a clave for samba, but there are no claves in samba, really. Clave is an Afro-Cuban thing, and is the sort of center focus of all the Cuban music, but we'll get into that in some other point. Teleco-teco can be mainly heard on either the tamborin or the cavaquinho. Teleco-teco is a set phrase, but it can vary depending on where you learn it. In roda de sambas and sort of more chilled out samba, not bateria samba, you will hear Teleco-teco quite heavily. That being said, there's usually one tamborin player and they're free to improvise around the Teleco-teco. So often they do. So you might hear it every couple of bars as its kind of root form, but often the tamborin player will improvise around it. It's also a rhythmic phrase that really heavily influences melodies. There are some set phrases for improvising and coming in and out of Teleco-teco. Here an example of some of those. Three, swing. This is the final building block that, when it's done right, totally transforms the sound of your playing. It makes it sound just infinitely better, I think. But it's also the thing that is the hardest to develop because it takes a lot more time than just learning a couple of rhythms. And sometimes it might even take some time to recognize that the swing is there, never mind how to apply it and then make it feel seamless. Because the faster the samba gets, the harder it is to notice the swing. But when it's slower, it's easier to notice, and people can often over-exaggerate the swing to really just get used to it. The way that I developed my swing was playing a lot and also listening to so much samba. It's the most listened to genre on my Spotify statistics every year. It's the thing that I listen to the most. It's also the Brazilian style that I think I've dedicated more time to studying than the rest of them. If you're looking to find sambas and you don't know where to start, on my website there's a link to a Spotify playlist called Swing do Samba, where you can just listen to a lot of sambas at different tempos with really great swing. I think even just having that starting place and listening to more will help you. internalize the swing. The Samba swing is very specific and it's very real. It's also really difficult to quantify using Western music theory. However, I'm going to try it anyway. So the basic swing pattern, called a reta on most instruments like caixa, repique, chocalho, or cajitero on the tamborim in the Escola de Samba settings, can be notated as 4 16th notes. And this just loops over and over again, with the first and the last of these semiquavers being accented. So I'm going to use a metronome here really slowly just to kind of try and help visualize this feel a little bit. So its basic form, first and last 16th note is accented. I almost said semiquaver there. So that sounds a bit like this. 1 E and da, 2 E and da, 3 E and da, 4 E and da, 1 E and da, 2 E and da, 3 E and da, 4 E and da, 1. That's it, slow, really exaggerated, and no real swing. Dat, 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 dat. Okay, that's it, really straight. Dat, 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 and 2, and 3, go. I've had this explained to me in a few different ways, but the one that I quite like is, imagine an egg rolling down a hill. In fact, hold on just a second. So when I was planning this video, I said to myself, okay, I'll pretend to run downstairs to the kitchen and get an egg, but I'll actually have one ready. And I didn't get the egg. I just realized I said it, like, oh yeah, I don't have the egg. So here is an egg, as you can see. So you see on an egg, the top half isn't quite as heavy as the bottom half. It's a bit narrower. So as an egg rolls down a hill, top half falls at a pretty regular pace. And as it's rolling, once it tips and the heavy base is on top, it falls much faster from that side and gets a lot more momentum really quickly. That is how it works. I know that seemed almost pointless getting the egg. So your first beat, da, 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 you're almost falling into the next beat of the pulse. Da, 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 da. Some people try to notate semiquavers out and use unconventional ways like making them closer together or making them look like triplets. And that's all fine too. But I would listen to a lot of samba and actually try singing the swing also. There are a couple of different ways that you can vocalize this, but I like to go for da ga chi ga da ga chi da ga da chi ga da ga chi da ga chi ga da ga chi ga da ga chi ga da chi ga ga chi ga da chi ga da chi ga da chi ga da. So an example of me stretching that vocalization. Doing it sort of fast in heado. Slowing it down, not over exaggerating it, not under exaggerating it either. Adding the Marcação. It's got kind of a conical kind of vibe. Is that how you say it? Conical? Is it? I don't know. Hopefully this video has helped you understand these important building blocks of samba. Here is an example of these 3 ideas in their most basic form. Marcação on a surdo, Teleco-teco on a tamborim, and the swing or a reta on a little ganza. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I hope to see you in the next video. Until then, bye. The mnemonic that I'm still out of breath from getting that egg.